appreciate y'all being here tonight, and just thankful for y'all wanting to spend some extra time with us on a Monday night. So thank you for being here. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and followed by that. Yes, sir.
I want everybody to stand for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. He passed, and I think we need to give him a moment of silence.
Okay. All right. So
if you don't mind.
Sure thing. So I know Mr. Guy was working on that as well. So why don't we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll follow the moment of silence, followed by the invocation by Councilman Guy. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I lead into the convocation, just piggybacking off of Councilman Killian, he wanted to do a moment of silence for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. A few things I will say is, Reverend Jesse Jackson was an American patriot. People may not believe that, but it's your choice whether you believe it or not, but he really was. Back in 1984, Jesse Jackson traveled to Damascus to secure the release of a fighter pilot that was shot down. That pilot was Robert Goodman. He did that during the term of Ronald Reagan. Jesse Jackson and the government at that time, the U.S. government at that time, worked to secure the release of Robert Goodman. Jesse Jackson went over and had that done. Another thing about Jesse Jackson is he is from Greenville, South Carolina. So he is our fellow South Carolinian. And he was a major part in the civil rights movement, along with Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King. So I think that is well warranted that we recognize him today. He's actually landing state today at the South Carolina State House. So whenever we can lift up people from South Carolina that has done things here in our country, I think it's a great thing to do. And then I'll lead into our convocation. Our God of peace, in whose image and likeness we all were created, listen to the cry and prayers of every disciple from every corner of this planet you created. God, grant the world leaders wisdom to see beyond the boundaries of race, religion, nations, and governments. Help us to recognize that common humanity makes us all your children and brothers and sisters. In these turbulent times, we ask that you grant grace to the world leaders to have conversations that leads us all into peaceful dialogue and constructive collaboration. Lord, cover our children here in the United States, our children here in Chester County, and all the children in the world. And to those that have already lost their lives, Lord, we ask that you open your arms and grant them everlasting life. In your Son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Thank you. So we'll begin with the approval of minutes. So 3A is the February 17th, 2026 council meeting minutes.
I make a motion to accept the February 17th, 2026 council meeting minutes.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor. That brings us to citizens' comments, and we have one person signed up to speak. Mr. John Massey, if you'll come forward and state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
John Massey, 171 East Lacey Street, Chester. I do local history. I'm here for Heroes. Morning of October 27th, 2015, Chester County. An automobile driven by what would later become a hit-and-run driver bore down on 2 children heading towards their school bus stop, Ashford Street, just outside the city limits. From news media reports, 11-year-old Adarius Wiley, standing 4 feet tall, weighing less than 80 pounds, ran to push his 7-year-old sister out of the path of the vehicle. He was struck and died the following day, becoming the most heroic kid in America. The Huffington Post, the Daily Mail in England, People.com, the New York Daily News raced to tell of the boy's selflessness. The South Carolina General Assembly gave Ladarius' family a proclamation honoring his courage. The city of Chester sought to rename a park. County wanted to rename part of a street. The park idea, social media postings approving this, received 80,000 likes. But both plans failed over ownership and permission problems. No one's fault, really. Mother's a hero. To a great many people, their families, after much thought, this very brave, heartbroken lady gave permission, allowing her 11-year-old to become an organ donor. Organ and tissue donors can save 8 lives through major organ donation, significantly enhance the quality of life for 75 others. Corneas, for example. One cornea donor can restore sight to 2 individuals, children. And skin grafts can treat burn victims. The 7-year-old takes a very special little sister for your brother to love you that much. Closing. I have read, and I believe, sometimes courage lives twice. Once in the action and once in remembrance. If you believe ultimate recognition should honor ultimate sacrifice, and I know you do, it's time for council to step up and fully support the construct of the Wiley Memorial. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. All right, so next up we have 5A, which is a public hearing for the Chester County Needs Assessment. I don't have anyone signed up on the sign-up sheet. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to that? In a minute. Yes, ma'am. We're going to do that in just a moment, Mr. Hester. Yes, sir. Mr. Ray, we'll just give us 1 minute.
There'll be an agenda item, Ms. Ray.
All right, so if we don't have any citizens signed up to speak, I will close this public hearing. Next up is 6A, which is a proclamation recognizing educators for exceptional courage and service during an intruder event in October of 2025. So I will now read that proclamation. A proclamation recognizing educators for exceptional courage and service during an intruder event, October 2025. Whereas the safety, well-being, and security of the students is a paramount responsibility shared by schools, the families, and the community. And whereas on October 31st, 2025, Victoria Woods, Reva Evans, and Deborah Feaster Anderson demonstrated extraordinary courage and professionalism during an incident involving an intruder and a student. And whereas, following a vehicle accident on the Chester Park campus, Ms. Woods responded swiftly and decisively by engaging the intruder to recover a child. And whereas, Ms. Evans and Ms. Feaster Anderson responded promptly during the altercation in the classroom by calls for assistance and in ensuring the safety of the other students. And whereas, these actions reflect the highest standards of public service, calm judgment under pressure, and an unwavering commitment to protecting children. And whereas, the community is grateful for the preparedness, teamwork, and selfless dedication displayed by the teachers and school personnel who responded to this incident. And whereas, their actions serve as an inspiring reminder of the vital role educators play, not only in teaching and mentoring, but also in safeguarding the students entrusted in their care. Now, therefore, I, Pete Wilson, Chairman on behalf of the Chester County Council, do hereby honor Ms. Victoria Woods, Ms. Reva Evans, and Ms. Deborah Feaster Anderson as individuals who, through heroic and selfless actions, place the safety of students first. Let this proclamation serve as a lasting expression of the community's appreciation and as a tribute to the bravery shown in the protection of our children.
This was done today, the second day of March, 2026. Do we have those three teachers, Miss Victoria Woods, Reva Evans, or Deborah Feaster Anderson in the audience tonight? All right. If y'all would, come forward, and we'd like to take a picture with you. We'd also like to give you a round of applause. Present this to you.
Hey, we got one missing.
Who else we got? Here he comes.
Ms. Key, you are right behind Mr. Wilson. Y'all need to go over a little bit. There we go. Try to get y'all in here. Count of three. 1, 2, 3. Got it.
All right, so you're Miss
Miss Woods.
Miss Woods. Miss Evans. All right, thank y'all very much.
Thank y'all very much. Thank you, thank you.
So I would like to say thanks to Mr. Councilman Guy for helping make that happen. And, he slipped out on us. All right, so, I would say of 2025, that was probably one of the events that was one of the scariest and also one of the best. And we are really proud of our teachers and, of course, our sheriff's deputies and all involved in bringing that out to the best outcome it could come for what was happening. So are there any more comments from council? All right, so thank them again for their heroism. Next up is 6B. It's the second reading of ordinance 2026-04, authorizing pursuant to Title 12, Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina, 1976, as amended, the execution and delivery of a fee agreement by and between Chester County, South Carolina, and a company identified for the time being as Project 2354, acting for itself, one or more current or future affiliates, and other project companies, providing for certain incentives as provided under the Simplified Fee Act, modifying a joint county industrial and business park of Chester County and York counties so as to enlarge the park, providing for special source revenue credits, and providing for other related matters. Is there a motion?
Make a motion we approve. I make a motion we approve the second reading of ordinance 2026-04.
Second.
All right, have a motion and second. Is there any discussion?
This is the one that.
Right, so why don't we ask Mr. Meister if you want to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Chair and Council. So this is second reading. It's largely unchanged from the first. It's $80 million in investment property, 40-year repayment window. It is a solar project, and it's been discussed repeatedly in front of this body, but if you've got any questions, happy to answer them.
This is the project that's been on the books for a long time.
Yes, Councilman, it is, and we've discussed it several times in other contexts.
Is there any discussion? I'll call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. All right, all in favor. Next up is 6C, which is the second reading of ordinance 2026-05, amending ordinance numbers 3-19-12A, 2018-5, and 2021-17 to update the definition of projects under an installment purchase plan of finance and other related matters.
I'll make a motion we approve second reading of ordinance 2026-05.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Do you have anything you'd like to add, Mr. Hester?
Only if you want, if council would like another explanation of what this ordinance was from last time.
Give us the brief overview, and I think it'll sound familiar to everyone since it is in title names, project names.
It was in title only the first time, and so this ordinance, it moves forward with the reallocation of funds within to what is referred to as the Gateway Bond. Originally, that $1 million was set aside for a spec building. We're reallocating this money to be used for the grant match for the rehabilitation, repaving of runway number 2 at the Chester County Airport. We received, we're the potential to receive a state grant in the neighborhood of $9.2 million, and the matching part of that would be $900,000. So this would allow us to use those funds that have been set aside originally for a spec building to be used for that matching grant for the runway. We have gained approval from the bondholder as well.
This is also the one that Mr. Roach brought before us that night, the airport director.
This is the one that we did have a presentation from the consulting group, the engineering firm, along with Mr. Roach, in 2025, yes, sir.
All right, is there any further discussion? Not, I'll call for the question. Those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, all in favor. Next up is 6D, which is the first reading of ordinance 2026-06, authorizing the transfer of approximately 5.259 acres of real property with improvements, if any, located on Doctors Court on Highway 97 with county tax map number 08003030031, also 08003003029, and 08003030025, and providing for other related matters. With this being a first reading, Mr. Hester, would you want to say a few words to this one as well?
Yes, sir. And so Chester County owns approximately 12 acres at the end of Doctors Court. There's approximately 6 parcels there that Chester County owns. It was deeded to Chester County as a donation from Mr. and Mrs. Steele. Mr. Steele has passed away. Part of the deed was that this land was donated, that Chester County will build a park in memoriam for Mr. Steele on one of the parcels of that land. And so what this ordinance does, it allows the sale of 5.295 acres of that approximate 12 acres. There's 3 parcels. You read the parcel numbers that are being sold. Those parcels are being sold to Hazel Pittman. Hazel Pittman will build a new treatment facility there in the future. And we do have members of Hazel Pittman's board, their executive director here, if council has any questions with regard to that purchase and what they'll be doing. But what this ordinance does, it authorizes the sale. The agreed upon sale price is within the ordinance. There is a Scribner's error that I must bring to your attention. It's actually in the agreement to sell, which is about 4 pages into your packet under section 1.02, where it describes the sale price is accurate. However, the aggregate of the sale price, the number in parentheses, is correct, but the written number is incorrect. And that was just a Scribner's error that is in there. So that'll be corrected before second reading. The actual number is $341,835 for 5.295 acres. We will also memorialize council's wish to use proceeds from the sale of this land to complete the park on parcel, another parcel, we call it parcel 3, but it's located in the top quadrant. We have received, we've received some bid quotes on completing that park. It'll pay for the park and it'll pay for our attorney fees with relation to the sale.
I make a motion we approve first reading of ordinance 2026-06 for Hazel Pittman.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? So, Mr. Hester, just to be clear, so this land was given to the county from Mr. and Ms. Steele at no charge?
That's correct.
Right. All right, is there any further discussion? Call for the question. Those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. All in favor. Next up is 6E, which is a first reading of ordinance 2026-07, to adopt a comprehensive plan for the County of Chester, titled Chester County 2025 Comprehensive Plan. Mr. Ward, I'll call you forward. He's our Planning and Development Director.
Thank you, Chairman Wilson, County Council. Glad to be here with you this evening. This is a project that's about 30 years in the making, and I say that because this is the first time in Chester County's history that we have a comprehensive plan written by its citizens, its leaders, its planning commission, its county council, working in harmony to create a comprehensive plan. This particular plan's been underway since October of 2024. It also has the most extensive citizen feedback of any comprehensive plan in our history. That includes 6 public workshops around the county that over 150 citizens came to, an online survey, followed by 19 county council and planning commission public workshops, public meetings, and field trips around this county to hash out every detail. So the result, we have our comprehensive plan. It is 113 pages, but the vast majority of the important stuff is in the first 70 pages. It has readable font, it has pictures, it has graphs. Importantly, I think it has 34 direct quotes from citizens within the comprehensive plan itself, within the action item section. So we did not just listen to the citizens and then ignore everything they had to say. Very intentionally, very transparently, we put their direct words in the plan itself. So I'll briefly cover what's in the plan. It opens up with the vision for the county, how the county will grow and change over the next 10-year planning cycle. We will have revisions, of course, at the 5-year mark and more often if county council deems it necessary. The plan kicks off with a vision statement and 7 values for the county that undergird the whole plan. These values include keeping us Chester County, which is maintaining our uniqueness, our unique heritage and culture, growing in economic strength and opportunity, being pro-business, pro-industry, pro-small business in the county, protecting and supporting our rural heritage, managing growth, and there's others as well. Next in the plan, there's 20 pages of research on infrastructure, and this included about 25 interviews and lots of research on everything ranging from firefighters to our public schools to water and sewer, fiber optic. Every piece of critical infrastructure in the county was researched, compiled, and mapped out. Then we used all that infrastructure data and the public input about where growth should be and best urban planning practices to create the future land use map, which maps out where will growth be channeled, where are the right areas for growth in our county, how do we accomplish our values like protecting our rural heritage, growing in economic strength, while managing growth at the same time. How do we encourage small businesses and also revitalize our towns? And so the future land use map sets all these out in a map and with strategies to deal with incoming growth. It's not a map that is set in stone. Again, it will be revised periodically, and every 10 years, every 5 years perhaps, new areas of growth will emerge, particularly in areas of high infrastructure. So this is not the Chester County map forever. New areas of growth and change will occur, but it is the map for the next short term. And I'll add that future maps should also follow the same formula, the same rule. Ground your new growth in existing infrastructure to lower the impact and cost on citizens and existing taxpayers. Finally, it wraps up with the action item section, which is a list of 90 action items for both short-term and long-term goals that the county can work on to improve our county across a variety of areas. And then we've got 40 pages of research and data on subjects ranging from traffic counts on our roads to soils and other statistics. So I'd like to say, first of all, thank you for your work. Because of your hard work over the past, 16 months, this is a great product. I would put it up against any comprehensive plan in South Carolina from a county, and I've read them all, so I'm not just saying that lightly. Your hard work has enabled the county to save $150,000 compared to hiring a consultant. So we're saving taxpayer money. We have a great product at the end of it. That could not have happened without the time and effort y'all spent, and the Planning Commission as well, at least one member of which is here this evening. I would also thank all the citizens who participated in the workshops and the surveys. Couldn't have happened without you as well. The many calls and emails and meetings that I had as well over the past months. So now we're at the readings. We have our 3 meetings, the 3 readings to cover any changes or comments or edits or questions that need to happen at this stage before it's passed. I'm here to answer any of those questions I can and receive your comments. Thank you in advance.
Thank you. Quick question. So for citizens wanting to read the plan, I know it's part of our agenda packets, but is there somewhere else that they can easily access it?
Absolutely. So you can email me at my email address. I can send you a copy. I believe it's posted on the website for the Planning Commission as well. But any citizen's welcome to call or email me, and I can send them a PDF right away.
Thank you. And it's on the website as well.
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Sounds good. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the first reading of ordinance 2026-07.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to thank you. You said thank us for our hard work, but you actually worked really hard yourself on this. We all witnessed the work you put in, and I appreciate everything you did. And we have a valuable employee in you here in Chester County. And again, appreciate you for what you
Appreciate it,
did.
Mr. Guy.
I'm gonna tell you, some will be good if you can get some of these books like this and put it out there for the people that can't use the computer. They can come out here and get one.
Great idea.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the good work.
I think we could, Mr. Ward, did you say it is available on our website already, or we can do that tomorrow?
I believe it's on the website. I will check that right after
Okay.
the meeting.
Yeah, and we'll ensure that it gets uploaded if it's not for everyone, and I think that's another good idea. We'll set some copies out over the next several weeks. We'll replenish them as they are taken, so if citizens need them, we'll make sure they get them.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing we've talked a lot about is we want a plan that we use. And so the more citizens are aware of the plan, we're aware of the plan, we need to have it always readily accessible for us to grab it and read it and consider it. So I also want to thank you for your hard work on it.
I think, Mr. Wilson, I think Citizens Academy, they have to read the entire thing and take a test on it at the
Yep.
end as well, so.
Yep.
Well, one thing I would like for you to do, if you can fit it into your schedule, this is the first reading. There are 5 communities in this county: Chester, Lowry's, Richburg, Fort Long, Great Falls. And we need to make sure that we get this word out to them and the citizens that live in those communities. They're not to be left out, in my way of thinking. I think they'll all like what you've done, but I think we need to make sure we include them in this process as best we can.
Yes, sir. I completely agree on that. We did have some presentations. I did presentations at each one of the town councils, Great Falls, Chester, all of them, in the fall to present, especially the future land use part, because as you said, that's the pivotal part that impacts how growth around those cities will happen. But I for sure want to ensure that all the municipalities have a say and have a copy of the plan as well.
Just put it down in Richburg, somewhere in Richburg, somewhere in Great Falls, so everybody can have it. So if anything go down, they can't say they didn't have it.
Yes, sir.
All right, we will, any more discussion? Call for the question. Those in favor of the first reading of ordinance 2026-07, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor? All right, that brings us to 6F, which is Resolution 2026-05, authorizing an amendment to the master agreement governing the York-Chester Industrial Park to designate additional property as subject to the park arrangement and providing for other related matters. Mr. Lasser, I'll ask for you to speak.
Thanks, Chairman. Sorry, I was riveted by Jeremy's presentation there. It took me a minute to pivot. So this is to expand the park to provide for additional property that's subject to the park, adding additional space and giving us additional capacity in that. Are there any particular questions that the council has that I can address?
You might could just explain to the citizens why we do a resolution like this every time there's a project.
Sure, absolutely. So Multi-County Industrial Park is a joint relationship between two counties, and anytime we have additional projects or any additional property that's going to be relocated in them, there has to be a resolution of both councils. So this is our part to add that in, to expand out the park. Now, parks are not necessarily contiguous places of area, but they are designated spots designated by each of the county governments for areas that can receive fee in lieu of taxation.
Let me mention one thing while you're talking about this. I went to the COG the other day and met a council person from York County. He doesn't know anything about multi-county industrial parks. He's a member of the York County Council. So I called another member of the York County Council, and he's not familiar with that. So for the sake of argument, I'm really questioning what we are doing. Are they doing the same thing? And is that flowing back and forth between us? And according to these two guys that are members of York County Council, they're not really aware of how this works.
Sure, Councilman, that's a great question. So under South Carolina law, this is theoretically a joint enterprise between two counties. However, one of the counties may be participating to the only 1% extent. So they are a nominal participant, if you will. So they will have joint participation, but they will have more control over parks where they are the 99%, and for example, Chester is the 1%, than they will over projects where they are the 1% and we are the 99%. So generally speaking, counties will work with each other, maintain that good county relationship with their neighbors, and allow the projects to be driven by the county in which they're going to be located. Projects can be 100% in Chester County, but still be part of the multi-county industrial park with York County, which gets the 1%. Similarly with them, if we have a park arrangement with them where we're the 1%, the project may be physically located entirely in their county, and the only thing that we're doing is participating in order to comply with state law. Now, I mean, I can go into a whole lecture as to why these things exist and why the legislature in its wisdom wanted multi-county parks to be partnership agreements, but that's the general thrust of it, is that they are going to be participating, but they're not driving the ship.
I guess my question is, I understand that because I've spent a lot of money finding out about fee in lieu of taxes. However, it seems to me like the county council people in York County, does this go before them to be approved if we do one?
No.
It does not, so they would not know what we are doing.
No, again, the county that's driving the project will have almost complete control over it, and the other county will essentially authorize us to have control over the projects that are in our jurisdiction.
Okay.
Because remember, they only collect 1% of the revenue off of it, so it's really not impactful.
You've answered the question I needed to have answered.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion, we approve Resolution 2026-05.
Second.
All right, so open it up for discussion. Is there any discussion? I'll say, before you do, I'll say this. If you look in our agenda packet, and it's available online on our county website under the council tab, you'll see on page, oh gosh, I can't get the page number to pop up. But anyways, you'll see Exhibit A1, and it lists all the tax map numbers related to the multi-county industrial park that's in Chester County that we're partnering with York on, and then Exhibit A2 does it the other way. So it lists all the York County industries that partner with Chester County. And so
Page
that's
200.
200, there you go. So that's some really helpful information. So that shows it as clear as day exactly what's happening and what it's all about. Mr. Hester?
Yeah, and if I just follow up with, this is a property that council approved the ordinance for the fee. This is Project Pocket Pass, as it was called, Project 2285. It's right in front of ICO Mat Tech Plant off of Highway 9 in Cedarhurst. I believe that was a unanimous approval by council back last year, early in the summer, if I'm not mistaken. And sometimes attorneys on these deals like to do the resolution for the multi-county industrial park separately. And so that's what we have here. It's just typically we included in our ordinance. This particular company and their attorney decided that they wanted to do it this way. This really normally would have been part of our original ordinance process, but that's all we're doing tonight is a project that was already approved. It was already approved that it was going into an industrial park, a multi-county industrial park. And so I'll follow up with the multi-county industrial parks that counties don't typically, there's no permission that we have to require to enter into those other than council's legislative approval of those. We all participate in a multi-county industrial park, multiple counties like it says. And then we receive the benefit from those counties, 1% of their projects, and they receive 1% from our projects. And I can tell you rural Chester County benefits greatly from York County and Lancaster counties on the 1%. And when I say benefits greatly, we receive much more from being a part of those industrial parks than we pay out. So there is a benefit to that for the county as well. There's also, and people will say, well, why is it a multi-county industrial park? And I like to tell people, if you're not in a multi-county industrial park and you don't offer that to an industry, then many times those industries are not going to come to your county. And one of the reasons is because they would forego state incentives and abatements, and one being a job tax credit, and they lose job tax credits on the amount of individuals that they hire, and it can be substantial. It can be up to $10,000 per employee. So when you got 300 employees, you're talking quite a substantial amount of money that they would forego an incentive if they're not on there. Also, the other thing with multi-county industrial parks that a lot of people don't understand is if you don't enter into the fee in lieu within these multi-county industrial parks on some of these businesses, there's an abatement, a tax abatement where the county loses out on 5 years of tax revenue right off the bat. And so it benefits us greatly to be part of multi-county industrial parks.
Chairman, I have a comment and a question.
Yes, sir.
In reference to the multi-county industrial parks, from what I see, it seems like we have over 50 different projects that we collect from in York County, which is far more than what we share with them. So if anybody in the public was wanting to know how the comment the administrator said we collect a lot is over 50 different projects that we actually collect funding from. My question is how many of these may possibly be over 1% or all of them just 1% of these projects that I see?
It's always 1%.
Always 1%.
We pay 1%, we receive 1%.
Thank you.
And so I'll give you a little example, and I'm not going to talk numbers, but everybody's data centers are a hot topic. If another county surrounding us brings in a data center, we receive 1% of that.
Thank you.
All right, is there any more discussion? Not, I'll call for the question to approve Resolution 2026-05. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that motion carries 6-1. Next is number 7, which is the administrator's report. Mr. Hester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Council members and the public, I apologize. This might be a little bit lengthy tonight, and I saw that face you just made, Mr. Wilson. But I have quite a bit on my palette here tonight. Before we move too far forward, I want to briefly explain a new process that I'll begin implementing as of tonight. From time to time, and I'm going to read because I've got a lot to go over. So from time to time, concerns are raised during the citizen comment portion of our meetings, and many times that includes inaccurate information and sometimes even serious claims, allegations of corruption, conspiracy, or even violation of state law. When someone speaks with conviction, those claims can carry weight and give root to mistrust, even when they are not supported by fact. It is not my role to silence anyone. Citizen comments is an important and protected part of our process. However, it is my responsibility as county administrator to ensure that the public record reflects accurate information. Going forward, when statements are made that contain clear factual inaccuracies, I will provide a clarification at a subsequent meeting. These responses are not intended to create hostility or discourage dialogue. They are intended to set the record straight. The goal is to protect the integrity of the institution, being the county government here in Chester, and the public's trust in it. Truth matters, accuracy matters, and maintaining a culture where misinformation is addressed, not ignored, is a responsibility we all share. So to begin this process tonight, during the last county council meeting on February 17th, a statement was made during citizen comment that the plan for Lando Village and Walker's Mill North did not follow state law regarding planned developments. This is an important misconception that needs clearing up. The requirement for planned development under State Code Section 6-29-740 is that it must encourage innovative site planning for residential, commercial, institutional, industrial development within planned development districts. And the Chester County Code of Ordinances set forth expanded requirements regarding the intent and allowable uses of this district. The Lando Village and Walker's Mill North plans absolutely do meet both state and county requirements for planned developments, being an innovative site plan specifically designed for site flexibility, multiple housing types, and a mix of commercial and institutional uses. And in fact, every planned development approved in this county has met the state and local government requirements in place at the time of its approval, which has been tested and verified by court of law. One more item relating to this public comment, or two public comments, comes from a citizen comment at a Fort Lawn Fire District Board meeting last month. The comment was related in a public meeting that the pending audit finding related to a Fort Lawn Fire District. And in a citizen comment, it was stated that Chester County approached the chief and requested that they turn over fee and lieu funds to be shared throughout the county. The county has not asked any district to turn over any funds collected to those districts. There was no ask or question, only a communication of a process change. The communication was simply that a communication of a proposed process change that would go before county council before it went before council. So my comment there is, it was communication. It was talking about a process change that was going to occur or that was going before council, and it was just giving everyone a heads up. We should be talking about communication with all stakeholders that I believe has been talked about tonight. Second, the district is a county entity. County council created the district and the board it appointed to oversee it. The council is the ultimate legislative and administrative authority over a county-created special purpose district. The council previously approved an ordinance where 5% of funds collected from fee and lieu would go to the fire district in which the project was generated. County council last year, through an ordinance, changed that process of allocation for future budget cycles. The change, as discussed numerous times in open session during its approval, simply puts the burden of justification of need for funds related to those fee and lieu allocations on the fire districts as part of the budget process. It's a needs-based justification, as would be expected by any fiscally responsible organization, as opposed to randomly allocating money based off of percentage of revenue. The county would never jeopardize the financial stability of any district, as noted in public comment. I think this is evident by council's approval last year of the Fort Lawn's Fire District budget from $197,271, increasing that budget to $286,495 in fiscal year 26. There was a second comment made at the same citizen comments that financial agreements, both written and verbal, were suddenly discarded. Long-standing budget processes were altered without collaboration, and that this created financial instability in the district and placed it in jeopardy. I asked Mr. Darby, our treasurer, to respond to that, and he wrote me a letter in response to that. He oversees the budget, and his comment is as follows. My role with the Fort Lawn Fire District from its inception was simply to collect and allocate the budget approved by County Council to the district. In fiscal year 25, due to the fund balance on hand, allocated their entire budget and reads the numbers, on July 12th, 2024, which was $197,271. From that point, the only involvement the county had related to district expenditures was processing of biweekly payroll as a result of requests from the fire district staff. He goes on to state, let me reiterate that I nor the county do not have the authority over the accounts used by the district for their day-to-day operations, and therefore do not see what district expenditures are until after the fiscal year as we prepare the county's financial statements. It would be up to the fire district board to ensure that the district is following its budget approved by county council during the fiscal year. This is per ordinance in place that gives authority to the fire district board and legislatively describes their role and responsibility as the overseer of the budget and the district operations. It was not until requested reimbursement from the district for their payroll costs that Mr. Darby was notified that the district didn't have the funds on hand to reimburse the county. This has brought to light some glaring issues that need to be addressed, and this council has asked that those be addressed. As always, Mr. Darby states that he is more than eager to help and ensure that this doesn't happen again. Moving on to planning and development. First, we're going to move to a different topic now. But first, I don't want anyone to forget that we have our next planning and development workshop next Monday, March 9th at 4 p.m. We will finish the discussion on solar and hopefully wrap up with a discussion related to data centers here in Chester County. As many of you know, and this is still related to planning and development, I, as your administrator, have had the privilege this year of sitting on a legislative tracking committee with the South Carolina Association of Counties. As part of that responsibility, I'm asked to review Senate and House bills that are on both floors of the State House and provide information and feedback on how those bills might affect rural counties like ourselves. In doing so, sometimes and oftentimes, I rely on the expertise of many of our department directors, and I ask them for research-related material on a particular bill. One item that has been an extremely hot topic relates to data centers, as everyone knows. I asked Mr. Ward to do some background research. I asked him to contact some folks with One Spartanburg that I was fortunate enough to meet recently and have some conversation with regarding their recent experience in data centers in Spartanburg County. Mr. Ward has had very profitable conversations with them, as well as several other counties, some of which are in other states in North Carolina and Georgia. And I tell you all this because at the request of attorneys from the Association of Counties, Mr. Ward will testify before the House Subcommittee on Senate Bill 867 this Tuesday. And his testimony before the subcommittee will discuss challenges with data centers in the region, utility capacity, utility concerns. He has had numerous conversations with some of our utility providers like Duke Power as well. Mr. Ward will discuss Chester County's ability to support data centers given utility capacity, and he will also weigh in on the proper regulatory framework that is being considered regarding siting, incentives, and approval of data centers. While Chester County has not worked out its priorities regarding data centers, and we'll be discussing this in next week's workshop, Mr. Ward will be assisting in sharing of information and our perspective of planning and zoning information that he has accumulated around the region and research being conducted. And so I tell you all this to say that I think it's, you've seen the good work that Mr. Ward's doing. You've seen Chester County sitting on panels down in Columbia. You've seen Chester County on the State House floor. And I think it's important for our citizens to know how involved we are in Columbia and the fact that people in Columbia are asking for Chester County's input on very, very important topics that are going on throughout the state. Next topic I have is Chester County School District information, and this is just kind of passing some information along from their recent workshops. So you may or may not have seen the Chester County School District article in this week's paper where capacity was discussed, and Superintendent Snipes recently finished up her study on the numbers of students in Chester County school system and newly approved residences in Chester. The numbers were significantly less than expected. It ranges between 4 houses to 13 houses for every 1 student in public schools. In other words, places like your Lando Village, your Walker's Mill North, and the new subdivisions, well, actually, Lando Village and Walker's Mill North will bring in closer to only 100 students extra into the school system than the hundreds that have been speculated by many in our community. And so I think that's important. People who didn't get to go to the workshops, that you see the work's being done, the data that is driving the information that is put forth with regard to the housing developments that have been approved in Chester County and what the numbers really look like. And we hit on some of those topics in our own workshops where we discussed that a majority of the migration that's coming into Chester County are people who have grown children that are already grown, and they're not bringing in, it's not so much the young families coming in buying the homes that are putting kids into our school. And so that just kind of validates some of that information from their study. And then lastly, and this is it, Mr. Wilson, but from the tourism front, I want to read a letter from the Chamber President and CEO, Ms. Brooke Clinton, regarding the tourism program, which Chester County contracts with the Chamber to run our tourism program. They appreciate all the work that Ms. Benson had done, but she has moved on from Chester County Chamber, and Amy Bender will be stepping into the role of Tourism Director. Many of you already know Amy Bender through her work as a Communication and Creative Director with the Chamber. Over the past year, she has also helped shape the present Chester County business and industry through branding, events, and communication. And she also worked in our tourism department under Mr. Stoudemire, who's here tonight, when he was over our tourism program. And so she already has a strong hold of what's going on there. Amy and her husband, Chris, they call Chester County home, and they're proud parents to 2 kids, and both serving in mission work. And they absolutely light up when they talk about their granddaughter, Ellie. Family and community matter deeply to Amy. She's an exceptionally talented designer and storyteller. She'll be working closely with local businesses in her new role. And tourism is an important part of the county's economic future, and we are confident that we're heading in the right direction. And with that, that concludes my administrator's report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hester. Next up, we don't have any consent agenda or old business, so that brings us to new business. So 10A is a presentation of plaque to Leroy Springs and Company Incorporated in appreciation of donated ball fields. Call for Mr. Brett Stoudemire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Council. Today is truly a special day for Chester County. We gather here not to recognize a gift of land and facilities, but to celebrate a lasting investment in our youth, our families, and the future of this community. On behalf of the Chester County Council, our Parks and Recreation Department, the Chester Youth Baseball and Softball League, and the citizens of this county, I want to express our deepest gratitude to Leroy Springs and Company Incorporated, and to Mr. John Gordon and Mr. Cal Williams for their generous donation of the Chester Complex on Dawson Drive. For decades, this complex has been more than ball fields and bleachers. It has been a gathering place, a training ground, a second home. Since 1970, the Chester Youth Baseball and Softball League has called this complex home. Generations of young athletes have learned teamwork, discipline, perseverance, and sportsmanship right there on those fields. District tournaments, weekend competitions, and championship runs have brought families together and drawn visitors from across the state. In fact, they are conducting tryouts tonight as we speak. In recent years, participation has grown significantly, from 24 teams in 2020 to nearly 40 teams this year. That growth tells a powerful story. It tells us that families want recreation, our children want opportunities, and this complex continues to be a vital part of their lives. In 2024 and 2025, Chester sent teams to represent both our county and the state at both the 8U and 6U Diamond Softball World Series. That kind of achievement starts right here on those fields. But their donation means even more than preserving a tradition. By transferring ownership of the complex to Chester County, Leroy Springs and Company has ensured that this facility will remain dedicated to recreation for generations to come. This gift secures its future. It now allows us to pursue local, state, and federal grant opportunities that require public ownership and other funding sources that can support renovations, ADA accessibility improvements, expanded programming, and enhanced facilities. It positions this complex to be considered in future capital sales tax initiatives, giving our citizens a voice investing in recreation infrastructure that benefits the entire county. In short, this donation doesn't just preserve what we have, it unlocks what is possible. It ensures that 50 years from now, children will step onto these fields with excitement and pride, just as they did in 1970. Leroy Springs & Company has a long history of investing in communities, and today's action reflects a deep understanding that recreation strengthens quality of life, supports economic development, and builds community spirit. Mr. Gordon and Mr. Williams, who are here tonight, please know how meaningful this gift is to our county. It is a legacy decision, one that will positively impact families for decades. Thank you for believing in Chester County. Thank you for investing in our youth. And thank you for ensuring that this complex will continue to serve as a place where memories are made and futures are shaped. At this time, Chairman Wilson will read the plaque that will be permanently displayed at the park in recognition of this generous donation.
You want everybody down? He'll read it first.
Okay. All right, so this time I'll read the plaque. So it says, Chester County extends its sincere appreciation to Leroy Springs & Company, Inc. for the generous donation of the Chester Sports Complex. Your gift enhances recreation, community spirit, and the quality of life for generations to come. 2026. Thank you very much. We'll hold on to it.
Give Della a hard time.
He's my neighbor.
I know it is.
All right. So next up, we have item 10B, which is the Veterans History Center Bid Award. I'll call forward our Contract and Procurement Director, Christy Donaldson. And also joining her will be Mr. Studemeyer again.
Good evening. We're requesting council's approval of the award for the Veterans History Center exhibit. This RFP was conducted in full compliance with the South Carolina procurement guidelines, but due to grant funding that we received from the South Carolina Parks and Rec and Tourism, because state grant funds were involved, we were required to follow state procurement procedures throughout the process. A 5-member evaluation committee made up of Chester County government employees carefully reviewed and scored all proposals received. Based on that evaluation, HW Exhibits of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, was determined to be the most responsive and responsible proposer. The recommended award includes the base bid of $225,000 and the Enhanced Revolutionary War Exhibit in the amount of $60,000 for a total contract amount of $285,000, and that excludes any selected alternates. Britt's going to go over the grants that were received for the project.
Council, we had $200,000 budgeted for the basic Veterans History Center. Their bid came in at $225,000, and we had $62,500 budgeted and received from being awarded the South Carolina 250 grant for the enhanced revolutionary portion, and their bid came in at $60,000. So we're in the black on that one. However, as we looked at it, we also realized that we wanted to try and incorporate a few of the alternates. And so we selected some of the alternates which are more technology. Audio stations, a small digital kiosk, so the veterans database where citizens can enter and research information, some mechanical interactives, and then a 60-inch wide freestanding reader rail, 3 of those where artifacts can be placed in. And so that addition was $25,500, which put us at $50,100 over our budgeted amount. As I spoke to Mr. Hester and Mr. Darby today, we wanted to make that number $60,000 to include any prep work that we may have in getting the building ready as the selected vendor comes in and starts to install and do the installation. I'll let Mr. Hester speak on those funds as we discuss those with him and Mr. Darby.
So this process is a little bit different because of the grants that are involved. So it's not just choose the low bidder. There's a scoring system that we have to follow based off the grants in the state. And again, you can lose the grant awards if you don't follow those processes. So it's not always a low bid process. However, the winner of this was the second to lowest bid. And so while we are in a deficit of $50,100, I'm not going to say this too loud, but our local ATAX, as we had reported to you the past couple of meetings, and council has approved some use of funds out of that local ATAX fund balance. We needed to spend that budget, that balance down a little bit. And so what I'm recommending to council is to approve up to $60,000 out of local ATAX. I've gone over with Mr. Darby extensively that local ATAX fund balance. And even after the approval of the Tourism Center, the Christmas in Chester, the matches that are already approved on these particular 2 grants, we still are hovering right around $300,000 fund balance in that local ATAX fund. So with the addition of the $60,000, we can absorb that very well. The one thing I will say is I think it's important to add the extra $9,000 in there for any prep work. We're going to do the prep work in-house, but if we have to pull things, if we have to paint walls, we still have to buy paint. If we have to, move electrical outlets or do anything like that, we still have to pay for materials associated with those. And I wanted to leave us a little cushion in case we did have to bring a contractor in to do something that was outside of our capabilities, but it should not be too much prep work. So it's approved up to $60,000. I think this committee is also seeking some private partnerships, some private donations. So if we get private donations, that number could go down. But the fund balance is healthy enough to handle this as well as another item on the agenda tonight.
All right, so Mr. Hester, can you clarify for sure so we understand exactly what action we're looking to do tonight?
So we're looking for you to approve the bid that was brought for you tonight from HW Exhibits, and Ms. Donaldson can clarify the exact dollar amount for that bid, including alternates. So you would approve the bid plus alternates, HW Exhibits as the contractor, and then approve the use of up to $60,000 in additional funds from the local ATAX fund balance. I know that's a mouthful.
What was that balance?
The base bid, the balance.
The,
Of
I'm
the eight-
sorry, the base bid plus the
Oh.
extras.
The base bid was $225,000. The enhanced Revolutionary War exhibit was in the amount of $60,000. So the total was $285,000. And then we have 50,100, but up to 60.
Gotcha.
Oh, I'm sorry. The alternates were 25,100.
That's what gets you to the 50,100.
Yeah.
Tell me those numbers again.
225,000 was the base bid, and then $60,000 for the enhanced Revolutionary War exhibit, and then 25,100 for the alternates.
Should be $310,000 is the total that council will be approving HW Exhibits, and for us to use an additional 60,000, up to 60,000.
310,100.
Yes. Yeah. 310,100 for a total.
All right, so is there a motion?
That's just the bid, though.
I make a motion, we approve the $310,000 total bid for the Veterans Historical Center at the Gateway. 310,100. $100, I
All
give
right.
it
All right,
$100.
so we have a motion for $310,100 for that HW Exhibits, that's correct?
Correct.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Is there any more discussion? Not, I'll call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, also, entertain a motion regarding the $60,000 to be used from local ATAX.
I'll make a motion, we approve up to $60,000 from ATAX for completion of project.
All right, we have a
Second.
motion. A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, council. Thank you.
That brings us to 10C, which is a multi-year contract approval for ESRI. I'll call forward our IT Director, David Shorkey.
Hello, good evening, Chairman and Council. I'm here seeking approval for a multi-year, 3-year contract in the amount of $126,600 with Esri. This is our ArcGIS software that we use, kind of the core software to handle E911 addressing. It also handles our incident response field app, and we also use it heavy to do parcel editing in the assessor's office. The previous 3 years was, so this is a savings of $9,250 per year from the previous 3-year contract. I'm here to answer any questions.
So this 3-year cycle is a $30,000 reduction from last time. Savings, I mean, not reduction, but savings,
Yes,
roughly.
so, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. Okay.
So yeah, the per year previous contract is $51,250, and this new proposal is for $42,000.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Is there any questions for David? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the multi-year contract with Esri as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? We got to thank you for more savings. You're the king of savings, and so keep it up, and it's good news. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, all in favor. All right, so that brings us to 10D, which is a Chester County Needs Assessment. Ms. Grace Ray, come forward. She's the Community Development Director.
I was passing out sign-in sheets. Thank you so much for allowing me to come, Mr. Chairman and council members. I guess I come about once a year to do this, and hopefully it won't be too long, because I know y'all have had a long evening. This is the needs assessment hearing that we have to hold in order for Chester County to apply for any community development block grant funds. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the funds, and then talk about the needs that y'all identified last year, so that you can see if you want to update your priority needs. Before we start, though, I want to say this, that y'all have a citizen participation plan, and you've had this for years, and we have actually amended it, so I want to tell you what we're amending it for. But the citizen participation plan, we have to have in order to have these funds also. And in essence, it says that y'all have to not have any private meetings, of course, and that you advertise any public hearings that you have that deal with this funding source. And I know y'all obviously advertise all the time anyway. And in the past, we had to do the needs assessment hearing, and you had to advertise that. Then if you identify a project that you want to apply for, you had to have another public hearing to discuss that. Then if a project gets funded and there's any changes in that project, like with the budget or the scope of the project, we have to have another public hearing for that. And then at the end of the project, you have another public hearing. One good thing is you do not have to have a public hearing for the application anymore. It's just for those other items. Then the other thing that is more, I think even more important, in the past, we had to advertise it in the paper, as well as have posters around. I know y'all have, and thank you to your clerk for posting things around the county. But now it can be and/or in the paper, and that does save the county some money. Plus, I think the state that oversees this realizes that there are, I'm sorry to say this, but maybe not as many people read the papers, although I know Chester, that's not the case. But anyway, we can still advertise in the papers, and of course, if you want to, we can do that. But if you don't want to, we don't have to. We can just post and put it on your website and those sort of things. So those are the changes to the citizen participation plan, and I will give it, in fact, your clerk already has it, so if anybody needs to see it, we can certainly give it to you. The next thing I want to just briefly say is that Chester County supports fair housing, and April is Fair Housing Month, so y'all will be passing a resolution that month, and just to let the citizen know that Chester County does support fair housing in Chester County. So now I'm just going to give a brief overview of the Community Development Block Grant Program. This is a federal program that is obviously comes from the federal government, and it's the Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program, and those funds are given to each state. And in South Carolina, those funds flow through and are managed by the Department of Commerce. And so the Department of Commerce oversees any projects that are in South Carolina for this, and then also oversees, well, actually, that's where you apply to, and that's who decides who gets the funding. Right now, in fact, we weren't sure about the budget. As y'all know, we've had a lot of different things that have happened on the federal level on budgets and funding. But the budget actually was increased a little bit this next year for funding year 26 and 27. It's $20.1 million available statewide. That's up from $19 million last year. The only local governments are qualified to apply. That's the counties, cities, and towns. And also that is all for non-entitlement areas. There's some entitlement localities that all are automatically entitled to this to money from not this pot, this specific pot, but from the Community Development Block Grant. The only one in this region is Chester, Lancaster, Union, and York counties, is the city of Rock Hill. So Chester County is in the Small Cities Program. And there are 3 national objectives. You have to do at least one of these to apply for this money. The first one, which we do most of the time, is to benefit low and moderate income persons. The second is to aid in the prevention or elimination of slums or blight. That is usually for, like we did the Springsteen clearance a long time ago. That was one. We can do clear brownfields areas. We can also demolish dilapidated and vacant houses and things like that. The third one is to meet urgent community needs posing a serious threat to the health or welfare of the community. This has rarely been used in South Carolina. And like I said, most of the ones that we do for our local governments is to benefit low and moderate income persons. So as I said, there's $20 million overall for the program, and there are different programs under that program. There's a business development program, the community development, and regional planning. What I want to talk about is the community development programs, because that is what you apply for on a competitive basis. Under that program, there the sub-programs are, the first one is community infrastructure, and that is what it sounds like. That is for doo-doo, water and sewer, stormwater, those sort of activities. There's $8 million available that's statewide in South Carolina this year, and $1 million is the max that you can apply for. Chester County in the past has partnered with Chester Sewer District or Chester Wastewater Recovery. The Dawson Drive Sewer Project was one of those. So normally y'all are not in the water and sewer business, so you normally would apply on the behalf of like the sewer or the water districts. So you can do that. Those applications are actually due April the 20th of this year. The application requests are due on March the 20th. And there's a 10% match on all of these projects. So there's a 10% match required on that. The second one is the Community Enrichment Program, and there's $7.9 million available statewide, and $750,000 is the maximum. I'm pleased to say y'all received one of these grants back in December, and it's for the Great Falls. It's the fire service truck. So y'all received $750,000 for that project. We're really excited about it. There are different things you can do under this project, or under this program. You can do brownfields, like I said, brownfield clearance. You can demolish vacant and dilapidated residential structures. You can do downtown streetscape improvements. You can also do new or upgraded sidewalks in low and moderate income areas. You can also do libraries or services to, including renovations and construction and equipment, and publicly owned child care facilities for children aged 12 and under. And those can only be done in facilities that are owned by the county, but it could be like daycare centers or Head Start preschool centers. You can also do other public centers for other services. In fact, y'all got a project for the DSS upgrade, that building. That was one of them. So those are some other things you can apply for. You can also do other public safety facilities like police or sheriff's substations. We can't do the primary offices for law enforcement, but we could do substations, and then fire substations. As I said, we're already doing the fire truck. And one thing with the fire trucks, and also for any of the substations, the fire trucks, excuse me, you have to show that it will reduce you have to expand the services, but it also has to reduce the ISO, and sometimes that's hard to show that it's going to reduce that. Kel Benson did a great job of explaining that for the Great Falls fire truck, so we were really excited he did that. We can also do public health facilities, or like I said already, the social services. We can also do ADA accessibility and energy efficiency for CDBG eligible public facilities. That might have changed a little bit. We are hoping, we were trying to do that for y'all last year, and they said like you couldn't do it through like this building. It can't be where you have regular services, regular county services. So we're going to probably look into that with y'all. So those applications, the application requests are due August the 21st, and the applications are due September the 21st. Then the third one is the Local Priorities Program. There's $2 million available statewide. $300,000 is the maximum, and the match, again, is 10%. Again, Chester County received one of these to do your Chester EMS 5 district ambulance. That was the first ambulance that was funded in the state, so we were very excited about that. But that is for alternative grant activities and partnerships that might not go under anything else, like the ambulance is one, historic preservation, innovation, energy conservation, parks, rail and trails, and greenways. We've also been trying over the last few years. I'm glad to see that Mr. Stoudemire is here because we were trying to get something for one of your parks. So we're hoping maybe something like that can be eligible in the future. Those applications are also due in August 21st with the application request due September the 21st. Then there's a Ready to Go program. There's $750,000 available for that. The grant maximum is $500,000. Those are for any of those other three programs, but if something comes up, especially if it's an infrastructure project, you might have something that might be an emergency and you can't wait for a whole year to apply. You can apply anytime during the year. However, the project has to be shovel-ready. It has to be designed, permitted. If there's any, we have to do an environmental review. If there are any acquisition, all that has to be done, and you have to be ready to go to bid before you can apply for that. There's also the Business Development Program. That is not a competitive program, and usually it goes through the county economic development departments, and Robert Long is the one kind of in charge of those. We haven't done any economic development program projects in a long time. In fact, there's not very much, they don't put very much money in that anymore. But what happens is when the if a company comes in, it's for larger companies that might be coming in to create jobs. Yeah, there's only $250,000 available statewide, and they are the economic development directors go to the state and say, okay, we have this company come in, we need this much to run water and sewer, whatever it is, and then they go around to the different funding sources to find out what might be the best thing. I think a lot of the times with this funding, it's a little bit harder because it's based on number of jobs, and the companies have to keep up with those jobs, and we have to attract them as they come in. So that one is not as robust as some of the others. There are a couple of things to let you know. Y'all have 2 projects right now. You can have 3 at a time so that y'all have 1 slot open for something if you want to do maybe in the fall sometime. So we'll be working with your staff to try to do that. So that is a brief overview of the program. Are there any questions? I know that's a lot of information in a short amount of time. So if not, the next thing we need to do is go over your priority needs from last year, which it was finalized last July. And I will just read through them so that the audience can hear, and to see if y'all want to make any changes or additions or deletions. These were the top priorities for Chester County and for the 2025 year. First was to upgrade water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer infrastructure and services in low and moderate income areas, including infrastructure upgrades in the East Chester, Lancaster Street, Saluda Street, and McClure Street areas in the city of Chester, water upgrades in the Lincolnville Street neighborhood, and storm drainage in the Cedar Grove area of Chester County. This also includes the upgrade of water and sewer lines serving the Chester County Board of Disabilities facility and Dawson Drive ball fields, as well as upgrades to the Sandy River wastewater treatment plant. Just to let y'all know, and I really should have said this before I started reading these, in order, as I said at the very beginning, and usually we have to prove that an area that is going to be served is low and moderate income. So some of these areas might not be, but they're still your needs. So, and there's probably some other needs on here that might not be eligible for the CDBG funds, but they're still your needs. So that's the first one. The second one is renovate or construct Chester County facilities to include the following: ADA upgrades to the Chester County Courthouse to provide access to disabled persons, renovate fire substation and EMS facilities to make them more efficient and usable. This includes the upgrade of fire and safety equipment to include fire trucks, ambulances, and other emergency vehicles. Third is facility for the joint location of services to include SC, Department of Public Health, SC Works, and other agencies. The next is probate judge office and courtroom, the federal building. And then the next one is county recreation facilities to include the Great Falls Republic Park, a park on Dawson Drive, Gale Park, and the Backgate Park, and a county jail. The third priority is upgrade sidewalks to include the Gale Mill neighborhood, Ashford Street from Ella to J.A. Cochran bypass, the area from Parkway Avenue to the J.A. Cochran bypass, York Street, Brindle Street, areas along J.A. Cochran bypass, and sidewalks in the town of Fort Lawn. The fourth is undertake streetscape improvements to enhance the main entrances into the city of Chester, to include SC Highway 72, which is Saluda Street, and SC Highway 9, which is Lancaster Street. And the improvements can include road improvements, lighting, sidewalks, landscaping, water, sewer, and other infrastructure. Number 5 is address slums and blighted areas. This includes the clearance of brownfield areas as well as the following abandoned mills: the Great Falls Mill number 2 and number 3, Eureka Mill, and the Gale Mill. This also includes the demolition of dilapidated buildings and residences in low and moderate income areas. 6 is to support additional Chester County library facilities to provide education and training for low and moderate income persons in order to enhance employment opportunities. 7 is to expand water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer to low and moderate income areas currently not being served. I think that's the same as up there. 8 is construct and upgrade infrastructure to promote economic development through the expansion of existing industries and location of new industries. 9, extend water, sewer, and other infrastructure services to affordable housing sites in order to promote housing opportunities for low and moderate income persons. Number 10 is to extend water and sewer along the I-77 corridor, including the SC Highway 97 interchange at exit 55. And the last is to continue to further fair housing in Chester County, which is something we always put at the end of everybody's needs list. So that's your needs list. And I don't know, I did notice just reading through that we had, you had a facility for the location of SC Works. I think they already have one. So I think you can take that off. And then I also, you're saying, okay, one is upgrade and one's expand, so never mind. Number 7 is expand water and sewer, and I thought that's the same as number 1, but the number 1 is to upgrade, this is to expand. So any comments or ideas of anything that y'all want to add or change or delete?
Would you tell us what 2 projects we currently have going?
Yes. You have the Great Falls Fire Department, well, no, excuse me, the Great Falls Fire Service Truck. Yes, that's right, fire service truck. It's not a fire truck, it's a fire service truck. And the other one is the Chester EMS District 5 ambulance.
District 4.
District 4.
Oh,
my
was it District
actually.
4?
Yeah, out in Westchester.
I thought, well, it was wrong in everything. I'm so sorry. Glad to know. Those are the 2. Y'all also sponsored one for Great Falls. No, they did it. They did their own. But they actually got a park project for the, I can't remember offhand the name of it.
Was it Sunset?
No, it was not Sunset.
It was the David Miners Park.
It was the David Miners, thank you. That also received funding, which was pretty awesome. But y'all do have a spot for another one. And these projects usually last 2 years. And I know with some other fire truck projects we're doing, they sometimes take longer than 2 years. And I'm sure Mr. A.G. probably knows how long it takes to order the, but I think.
Well,
Mr.
what happens in Richburg is the income is too high
Yeah,
to do that. I'm curious if the fire truck was gotten by the town of Great Falls, which is a minority town, and the money was available to the town, or did it include the fire district, which is outside, and the income level of those people would have disqualified it almost?
well, I tell you what happened, and with both of those projects, so the county staff did a phenomenal job. We had to do income surveys. And we could, for Chester, I mean, you're asking about Great Falls. Great Falls in itself is a low and moderate income area. So that, no, they're not. So they actually had to, had to do surveys for the town and then the district outside. So I guess there were enough low and moderate income people in the town that offset that.
The town's income really helped that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know we've tried with Richburg, and I'm sorry we haven't been able to do it.
Done that.
Yep, we've been there, done it. So y'all can keep the list like this, or you can make changes, and I don't know if you want to think about it and come back to me, or say something.
Yes. Are there any comments from council?
So basically, there's just one slot for us to apply for, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I would think it would be something that you could apply for in the fall, which is everything but the infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if y'all will, because at some point you've got to.
We'll give our feedback
decide.
to Mr. Hester, and he'll relay it to you.
Okay, that's great. And then y'all can just, once y'all decide, and I can redo the list for you, and then you can just approve it at one of your future
How
council
soon is
meetings.
that again? What's the date for that again that we need?
You really,
Okay.
the good thing is you're not in a big hurry.
Okay.
Yeah, you really won't need to do it
Not that we
until
won't be, but I'm just making
August,
sure.
probably. But don't wait till August, but
No, no.
it's good. You really can.
Would we handle this the same as we did? Would you come back down and meet with our staff, and we'll go through, like we did last time, the list of ideas that we had, and so we can kind of,
Yes, I'll be,
so, just so council knows, last year when these two projects were selected for application, we probably met for an hour and a half, and went through an extensive list from you all and from county staff to see what qualified. I think we came up with these were the two projects that actually qualified. So, and we are receiving some brownfield money on projects currently as well from different grants.
yeah, and we have we keep a list. So if y'all come up with ideas, please let us know, and we'll vet them, because we try to make sure that whatever you apply for has a really good chance of getting funded, because it's very time-consuming on the county's part as well as ours. So it was really good to brainstorm and try to come up with some things.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, next up is 10E, which is request approval of local ATAX funds for SC 250 events. We'll call forward SC 250 committee member Neely Gaston.
Thank you, Chairman Wilson, members of the council. Just want to bring your attention to the seal on behind you, stated 1785. All the work of the SC 250 committee deals with a time period before we were even a county. And I say that because even though we use the term Chester County in identifying people and events that took place here, this was really known as the Catawba River and the Fishing Creek watershed area, and it was mainly a bunch of Scott-Irish Presbyterians who were glad to be out of the hands of the British, until we all know what happened in 1775, actually, not 1776. But your South Carolina 250 committee has been very hard at work. Your chairman, Bill Marion's right behind me. Brian Garner's behind me. Our councilperson, Aaron Mosley, Glenda Coleman, I saw her back there, and also Sandy Anglin. A lot of our folks are also not only involved in activities in the county, but some are on the Historical Cemeteries Committee, where you probably recognize me more from that. Some are with the Chester County Historical Society, also with the activities that Mr. Stoudemire has been involved with. Some of us have been involved. There's a great synergy going on right now in the county to promote the activities of that time period. And just to say a little bit about it, this is a grand opportunity for us to not only educate our folks and our children, but to show the significance of every people group that's represented in the county today. I mentioned Scott Irish Presbyterians, but there were also African Americans, there were members from the Catawba Nation, there were patriots, predominantly men were doing the fighting at that time. But also in Chester County, we have documented evidence of the significant contributions of even risking their lives or being martyred by the women who were here. So I had the opportunity, along with Ms. Coleman, to be with Britt when we had to do a Zoom call with the South Carolina 250 on that wonderful grant that you just heard about tonight. And that was a full 50,000. And we were seeing everybody on the committee. I wanted to just say that on that particular grant, we scored, I think it was 93%. And we had a chance to hear some of the other counties. They weren't anywhere near that number, and we got the full amount. And I just want to give my congratulations to Britt and all the folks that have had something to work the part that they've done on that. But we're going to kick off officially on June 28th this year. And if any of you are historians, you know that's Carolina Day. That's the day that the Patriots in the Charleston Harbor on Sullivan's Island with the blue Liberty flag that at the time didn't have a palmetto tree on it, but it had the, we say crescent moon, but technically it's a gorget. I won't get into all that, but we call it the crescent moon. But that was where we defeated the British in 1775, and they didn't come back for almost 5 years. Now, they won the second time they came, which sets up what happened here in our part of the country. Our nation probably would not be in existence if it were not for the events and participation that took place in what is now Chester County. And the SC 250 committee in Columbia knows it. They're so excited that we're doing the Gateway Center, the Veterans History Center, as part of this big plan, because they see us as a gateway to the rest of the state to get people to go to Charleston and to go to 96 and to go to Camden, and they're going to come down 77 right through Chester. So just wanted to say thank you. We're going to kick off on the 28th with celebrations of the patriots who gave their life at the Burnt Meeting House and the other patriots that are buried there. We're going to be talking about William Martin, who was out of the Rocky Creek area, the Covenanter preacher that stirred his folks up. We're going to be doing a lot of activities with some of the other cemeteries. And then we're going to move into an event. We hope to have everything in place before July the 4th to dedicate a monument at the memorial building that shows at this time over 34 patriots who gave their lives, who were from Chester County. They paid the ultimate sacrifice, so we hope to dedicate that later this summer. With all of these things going on, I am asking that you consider a grant of $25,000 to help us not only do some of the events that are taking place this year, but that will continue on all the way for the next 7 years. Because the war wasn't over until the signing of the Treaty of Paris in 1783, which then 2 years later we become a county. And we're hoping to have events that'll take in every area of the county to take care of every person that's represented that I've named. And we also are hoping to have the events take place at different locations throughout the county where every person can have an opportunity to understand the significance of those men and women who did their everything that we could be a country that we enjoy so much today. So that's our request, that you would help us. And lastly, this is important. You know, everybody likes skin in the game. When you're applying for grants, we can use some of this money as a portion of a matching grant. And it shows that the county has continuing skin in the game, and that really makes a big difference. That was part of the reason we got a full grant for the Veterans History Center. So, Mr. Chairman, that's our request.
Thank you very much for that update. We'll entertain a motion from council.
I'll make a motion, we approve the request for the ATAX funds, SC 250 events.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? To be clear, that's up to $25,000. Is that?
Up to it, yeah.
Yep. All right, we want to thank the committee for all y'all's hard work, and we're excited for the months to come.
Do vote on it.
We will. We have it. We will. We certainly will. I think it's going to pass. We'll see. So, is there any other discussion? Call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. All right. All in favor. Thank you. All right. So that brings us to 10F, which is a temporary non-conforming permit extension request. We have Mr. Alan Clack, who's a part of this request. Also, our Planning and Development Director, Jeremy Ward. In a moment, you can come forward as well. Mr. Clack.
Councilman Wilson, and members of council, thank you for letting us come tonight. You've probably seen what we've been dealing with for the last few months on Cedarhurst Road. We've had a temporary permit, and it's about to run out. So we've asked Jeremy Ward to give us an additional. We asked for 10 months, but tonight I'm coming in front of you to also say that during the last week, we've actually came to terms and agreed upon a property adjacent to where we are right now. So we have a contract on that. And also, we have a lease with the owner of the property that we intend to purchase. We have a contract on that she would lease us property so we can begin moving the rolls over to the new property that has already been zoned ID1, which Jeremy has told me that conforms to what we need. However, you've seen what we have to move. It's over 700 loads right now. So it would probably take us up to 3 to 4 months of moving it over if you can temporarily add 4 months to the permit instead of 10 that we're here to ask for tonight. With me here is Arco Design and Build, and they're the ones that we're going to turn it over to for the chop plant, where we'll need to process the material where the landfills will take it. In your package, you see that they've got timelines. So we are serious about this. It's just not coming here in front of you saying, hey, keep giving us more time. We do have a plan, a timeline plan, and they're here tonight if you have any questions, or if you have any questions with me.
We'll hear from our Planning and Development Director, Mr. Ward, and then we'll have a few questions as well, if you would just don't go too far.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll add in a few quick details, and then we'll be available for questions as well. So Mr. Clack was granted a temporary non-conforming permit on October 28th. Temporary non-conforming permits are not something we often do, but it's a temporary use of a property for something that the zoning does not allow, but on a temporary basis while construction or land acquisition or land development's underway, to allow flexibility for people about to make a capital investment. So Mr. Clack is working with several of our local industries, ICO and GAF, to haul their waste fiberglass, and the plan, which I believe he can expound more on, is to eventually purchase a piece of property. His plan is in Chester County, if zoning permits, to slice the rolls of fiberglass, haul it off to a landfill somewhere else. Our landfill is not rated to support it. And so the new piece of property that Mr. Clack is looking into would be, the plan is for slicing it and then trucking it off. So currently, he has a temporary permit for 2 acres on an adjoining property just to store the rolls of fiberglass. And that was originally for the 4 months. So the fiberglass, I think you can see pictures in your packet, is there stored. And as Mr. Clack mentioned, the other piece of property that he has the contract on and now has permission to lease is zoned ID1. So the zoning ID1 allows you to store the waste fiberglass there. It would not permit the slicing of it. Mr. Clack's aware of this, so if everything moves ahead, he would submit a rezoning request to rezone that to ID3. He would also require a special exception by the Board of Zoning Appeals for the slicing of it, but he would be allowed to store the waste fiberglass there on the new site if the extension is granted for a few months extension. I'll also note that we have gotten a number of citizen complaints on this, roughly 5, about half for litter along the road from hauling of the fiberglass, about half from just the visual impact. They are stacked up pretty high there. The advantage of the new site would be that it would be completely hidden behind trees, is my understanding. So I think that would alleviate some of the concerns of the neighbors. I'm here if you have any questions.
Well, it seems like the majority of the complaints, when I looked at it, came in from the litter on the road. It's actually my district. Cedarhurst is actually a district I represent. So it seems like 4 out of the 5 was litter on the road. Is there any plans? You got any plans to try to, or is it even you? Because I do understand from my research that you're not the only one that's hauling the waste out of there. They actually haul the waste out of there in a different form on different trucks as well. So what's going, what, could you explain that?
Yes, sir. Right now, we're contracted to haul the roll form, which the trailers we put it on is covered top. We don't take the tops down, doors on the back, so ours is completely encaged into a trailer. Now, you do have other companies hauling them with the tarps over top, and they're not rolls, they're in the loose form, and it can come out. So not saying it's 100% them. We might contribute a little bit if it's stuck to a tire and all, but we will make sure everything's picked up between the plant and where we're going to, up and down the road there.
Would you be committed to kind of like they have the adopt a road things and things that, would you be committed to make sure that road's clean?
Yes, sir, we can commit to that.
Can we get a commitment from that?
Yes.
So the ones that haul the loose stuff, is it like dump truck or something?
It's the open top containers, like Waste Management or something like that, the green box.
Did you pull the tops over?
Yeah.
What you're talking about.
You know, roll the tarps over, but, you know, some can blow out.
That's that waste management truck that comes up the road every morning. It's a double, comes off of 77 and makes a left and comes just as that where he's going IKO.
It could be. And like I said, I'm not putting the blame on them by any means, but there's other companies that come in. But for what you see on Cedarhurst, the rolls, that would be D&C.
Isn't it true that these rolls, some rolls like this, are stored somewhere else in Chester also?
Another plant has them on their site, and we're in the process of helping them alleviate that problem, which, you know, the landfills will just, they do not like them in roll form because it's hard to push them around and they get up on top of them and they want them chopped so they can scatter them throughout the landfills better and cover them. So in a lot of the landfills, we've tried 2 or 3 different ones over the last year, and we've been turned down after like 2 or 3 weeks of hauling to them. They say, don't bring any more. So it's got to be chopped.
So you say you already have a lease on the current property that you're going to be moving it to, is that correct?
We do. We just obtained it today, and we signed the contract last week to begin the process of buying the property.
Okay.
Yeah. With due diligence period, and ARCO is ones that will do the site plans and all, build the design.
And how long did you say it would take for you to roughly, I mean, I know it's not exact, but how long would that process take for you to move the rolls?
In a great world, 2 months maybe. I'm asking for 4 just in case of the weather. You know, we've had great snowstorms this year.
Yeah.
And it's put it behind. So But you'll see it'll start going down. It won't be as visible as it is right now.
Okay.
So, Mr. Ward, got a question for you. So, as far as the ID1 zoning, that is okay for him to store this material on it?
Yes, sir, it would be.
And is there a regulatory agency that oversees the storage of this type of this type of material, or there's not really?
Not to my understanding, for the storage of it, I believe Mr. Clack is working with them for any grading that has to occur on the site and stormwater. Those are the only two things that the state would have regulatory ability to.
You know, you
cover.
certainly have to understand that the rezoning is not guaranteed. And so you need to have a plan B in case the rezoning does not go through for what you'll do with this material, even after it gets moved to this new site.
Right. Yeah, but it'll allow us
Time.
to leave it there until we do, if the site doesn't.
When will the rezoning take place? Has it already been submitted? Will be soon?
I believe the rezoning will be submitted soon.
Yes. This is.
Sorry, David McCormick with Arco Design Build. We do plan on submitting the rezoning here very soon. We're working on obtaining surveys, geotechnical reports, environmental reports, so that we can prepare that and get submitted.
How much additional material could you potentially accumulate in a month's time? What's sort of your rate of input on average?
Right now, it's around 15 loads a month.
A load
The reason
consists
why
of-
it's so big right now is because we didn't start when they started. They had it on their property, and it got so much on their property they couldn't move, and that's when they came to us. And I came to Jeremy and asked about the temporary permit to get it off their site to clean it up.
15 loads a month?
Yes, sir.
Good.
That's
A load consists of how many rolls in your case?
8 rolls.
8 rolls, okay.
How big of a facility are you guys planning on building to actually chop this stuff up?
Well, in your plans, I wrote, we're looking at a 100 by 100 building with awnings, with docks, and we also have already purchased the shear machine from REI. It's about an 18-week build date on it. So the machine will actually get there before we can actually put it in the building. But it has to be designed to put in the floor, the power and everything to go to it. So it's just not something that you just move around.
What would council like to do? We would need, to be clear, we would need, Mr. Ward, we would need action from council to allow this to be extended beyond March the 15th?
Yes, sir, we would need a vote by council to extend this for a certain length of time.
How soon are you planning to submit for ZBA for that property? Like, how soon could it, Jeremy, that's a question for you also, like, how soon would it be available to be on?
For zoning amendment?
Yes.
Our timeline here has,
I know you're doing your studies and all, just to make sure it's there. I'm just curious.
yeah, it's really based on the survey that we need to get through our due
Okay.
diligence. So I'm thinking sometime April, 1st of May, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And you have a lease agreement that you could present to Mr. Ward?
Yeah.
Now even, you have it in hand?
You said April 1st of May?
It's still very preliminary, but that's my,
I would hate for us to have to come back through here and deal with this all again. What do you think about August 15th? So we won't have to deal with it.
That's fine. That's fine. August 15th sounds good to me. You know, when's our?
I make a motion, we approve the extension, for Mr. Clack, to August the 15th, contingent upon, Mr. Clack making a commitment to make sure that the waste is not on Cedarhurst Road when he hauls it from the plant to Cedarhurst Road. I think we do have some litter enforcement that can actually make sure that that's being taken care of. This motion will be contingent upon, if there is litter on that road, us contacting you and you being responsible to getting it up.
I second that.
Just clarification, is that the whole road to 72 or just to where we go to?
From Cedarhurst to where you go to, that's my opinion, that's my thoughts from what I see on the pictures. I think that's where you should be. I don't see why you would have to come in off 72 and come in that way.
Okay. I just know trucks travel all the way down the road.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, I will call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Thank y'all. Next up is 10G, which is first reading of CCMA 26-01. Thomas W. Clark, request tax map number 104-0000084000, which is 5.07 acres located at 2002 Gregg Road, Rock Hill, South Carolina, 29730, to be rezoned from Rural 1 District to Rural 2 District. Planning Commission approved 7-0. Mr. Ward.
Make a motion, we uphold the planning commission. Oh, go ahead.
That's fine. Go ahead.
I make a motion, we go ahead and uphold the planning commission. First reading CCMA 26-01.
I'll second.
All right, a motion second. Mr. Ward, very briefly, tell us anything you want to tell us.
So this is a very simple rezoning. The landowner purchased an adjacent parcel and wants to rezone it the same as his house in order to combine the two parcels.
All right, thank you. Is there any discussion? Call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor. Next up is 10H, which is the first reading of CCTA 26-01, Chester County Zoning Ordinance, text amendment to Chapter 4, Section 4103, Number 7, landfills and inert cellulose. Planning Commission voted approved 7-0. Mr. Ward.
Yes, sir. So as you know, we are updating the zoning code to be sure that every industry, whether it's a new industry like vape shops or older industries, have a zoning district where it has its home, it has regulations for it. So as part of that, we're proposing a simple text amendment to clarify which zone sanitary landfills fall under. And the proposal is to classify them sanitary landfills, which is household garbage, non-hazardous waste. It's to classify them the same as the two other landfills in the zoning code, which are inert landfills, which is like brick and sand, non-organic matter, and cellulose landfills. This would add them in as a special exception in the R2 zoning district, which means that they would have to be in the R2 zone and get a special exception by the Board of Zoning Appeals, which would look at, is it appropriate for the surrounding area, or there safety or traffic concerns with it? And all of that would have to be reviewed before approval. But it is simply a one-word text update.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve first reading of CCTA 26-01.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Thank you, Mr. Ward. Next up is number 11, which is boards and commissions. A is the Historical Cemeteries Advisory Board. Vice Chair Mosley.
Yes, sir. I would like to appoint Mr. Richard Hollis to our Historical Cemeteries Advisory Board.
All right, we have a second.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a discussion about boards in general, boards and commissions in general. Can we, at some point, possibly look into revising this process and look into some of our boards as to, and give us some education as to why some of the boards have a member for each district and some of the boards do not? And what I think to me, it's a little unfair for some of these boards where maybe I don't, for example, the airport board, I don't have a appointee, but I'm actually voting. So, you know, I'm not accusing, but is some of the other council members talking to some of these people, getting them to apply, things of that nature, and then some of us don't have a really skin in the game.
Well, this particular board
I
changed,
understand.
you know, with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
kind
I
of make it a
understand.
little bit more fair so we all have somebody.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, I get what you're saying, because I get confused sometimes
Yeah,
too.
just some education on that, and then maybe, I don't know if interviewing is the right word I want to use, but maybe talk about some of these members before we actually come in and vote on them, maybe in another setting or a workshop or something of that nature. I don't know. I've just never been comfortable with boards and commissions since I've been up here. I think we need some
And we
some
don't
more
be knowing
education
who
on
they is. Y'all just tell us their name, but we don't.
all
know
we get
who
is an
they
application at the end of the day.
And we need to know who these people is that we putting on these boards.
Yeah.
So our applications are in our packets.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
important to read those applications, sometimes make a phone call.
Gotcha.
But I'm all for trying to look at our process, see if there's
Yeah.
something we can do better.
There's a lot of people I don't know either, you know.
Yeah, the boards are important.
just,
Yeah, because they are important. And I think we're all starting to slowly understand how important our boards are. And we got to make sure that we all are comfortable and maybe know something about everybody that's on the board. That's just my opinion.
And put the right people on the board.
So if council pleases, you guys at the end of last year asked the county attorney and myself to do take some steps with regard to boards. And so one of the things that we do see is there probably needs to be a full review of all boards. Some boards are advisory, some boards have different authority. The ordinance is established that authority. Many of them were written 20 years ago. And so it's going to take some time, but we have started that process of going through those boards, putting together training for boards. And I think what we would end up doing is once we get through the budget this year, we would come back to you guys, probably do a workshop on boards and committees and make some overall recommendations and kind of get some guidance from you guys on how to move forward. And we have been making notes on a lot of the things you guys have been saying regarding representation, authority. And so the real issue is there's different ordinances that govern different boards in different ways, and that becomes really confusing to all of us as well. So we will work on all of these matters that you're bringing forth.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor right now. It's to put Richard Hollis on the Historical Cemeteries Advisory Board. Is there any discussion, any more discussion? If not, I'll call for the question.
This is on Mr. Hollis.
Yes. I'll call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor. Next up is 11B, which is the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. We have 3 names here. Victor, don't know that one.
Sorry.
Go for it.
I usually can get that pretty good.
Oki, Alan Hammond, and Joan Guyton. Mr. Hester, would you want to speak just a moment about those applicants?
So I will speak to the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. It's a citizen advisory group that supports Chester County Council on issues related to solid waste management, including collection, recycling, processing, and disposal. The committee reviews proposed ordinances and resolutions before final council action, provides recommendations when requested, and offers input on plans, programs, and policies aimed at improving solid waste services in the county. The advisory committee also helps encourage public awareness and community involvement on solid waste issues and can assist with related projects and studies. The committee includes 9 voting members appointed by council to represent a broad range of community interests, along with non-voting representatives from county departments and contracted service providers. So it's really a collaboration to improve our solid waste plan. I believe the last plan was in 2018, and there was a committee established then. They really didn't have a lot of work that was brought to them, and I think it kind of fizzled out. Our goal is to get this advisory committee back in place and functioning, as solid waste is an issue that we are dealing with more and more.
So we appointed some members at our last meeting, right? And
You appointed 6 in the last meeting, and this would give us our 9 voting members.
This is the same committee we voted for the sheriff last time.
Yes.
And these applicants, how did they come about? They inquired with the county? They expressed their interest at the county, or?
So we actually, nobody really reaches out to us and wants to be on this, so we, put out that we are, through social media, that we are taking applications for this, and many times there's specific parameters that have to be met. So say somebody from the business sector, somebody from insurance, or somebody from solid waste. So there's different parameters that have to be met with those members as well, and so we're trying to fill all of those holes, and this will do it.
All right. So would anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion, we accept the Solid Waste Advisory Committee names. I'm not going to try the first one, Mr. Hammond and Ms. Guyton.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, I'll call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next we got 11C, Zoning Board of Appeals, Mr. Agee.
Mr. Mike McBrayer was on the committee for years, and he decided he would get off. He needed a little rest. And Mr. Dotson is an engineer. I've known him for many years. He lives in Richburg. And I would think he would be an excellent person on the Zoning Board of Appeals with his background.
Putting that in the form of a motion.
I make that in the form of a motion.
All right, have a motion. Is there a second? All right, so we have a motion to appoint Mr. Dotson to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Is there a second? All right, so there's no second on that motion, so that motion fails. So that brings us to, we'll move on. That brings us to number 12 is executive session. We don't have any tonight. Council comments.
The Great Falls High School girls basketball will play in the 1A state championship this Saturday in Columbia. Very proud of the Great Falls girls basketball.
Yeah, it seems a lot of athletics are doing really well around the county, so that's always good news.
All right, is there anything else? Been a long meeting, a lot of moving parts tonight, but we made it through. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.